Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Michelle Adonis, and I am the owner of Vintage Revival Design Co. I'm so glad you're here. We are going to continue our working on our window, and we're going to get started. Thank you so much for weighing in on the pattern. I am going to bring up my project here. Let me know if you pop on here, please say hello. I want to show you that. So here are all of the window panes with the leading on. And I shared with you in a post and asked you to vote on this or that. I just colored these in with pencils. I think it's really helpful to have a pattern to work with. And so I just got out some colored pencils and did a few and decided I liked these two best. And Mary had a great idea to just use both. So that's what we're going to do. Hi, Joanne. How are you? And so I decided since we're going to use both that I'm going to do it in kind of an X pattern. So this one will be repeated in the top. Let me make sure I've got at the top left and the bottom right. And this will be the top right and the bottom left. So we're going to go ahead and finish at least one pane together completely, and we'll see how long it takes. It'll take a lot less time, I think, than yesterday's project did. So about the leading that we did, I wanted to let you know that I did, thank you, Shannon, for the suggestion just to replace the tip on my little leading bottle. That actually did work. But I want to let you know that it's really difficult to squeeze such a thick liquid out of this needle nose bottle. And I realized pretty quickly, if any of you have arthritis or struggle with any fatigue in working with your hands, then this probably isn't a great option. And I'm going to be on the lookout for another option. I had to run my thumbs under hot water and all of that. So anyway, hi, Beth. How are you? I'm so happy to see you here. So let's talk about coloring. I have mixed up a green. What I did was I used IOD's ink and diamond glaze. And I mixed this up because you're not supposed to shake diamond glaze, but I had to get the ink mixed up. So let me tell you how I did this. I took an empty bottle, and the first thing I did was I dumped two of these little steel balls into the bottom of the bottle. And these are 5.5 millimeter stainless steel balls. And I do this so that it just helps mix everything up. So I add that up. Sometimes, when you shake a can, like a spray paint or something like that, you'll hear a rattling. They just have something in it to help with the mixing. So I did that. Once the steel balls were in place, I poured in the diamond glaze. You guys, I'm waiting for them to send me a thank you note for all the times that I use this stuff, but I love it for so many things. Thank you, Shannon, and hello. And so once the diamond glaze was in the bottle, I then put several drops of the IOD ink, which comes in your bottles like this. So I used turmeric for the yellow. I mixed tomato and turmeric for the orange, the yellow and the red. And then I used newgrass for the green. And then I'm using Ocean's Deep for the blue. I thought it was just a really pretty blue for a stained glass effect. Okay. So that's how I did that. We're also going to be using some glass bead gel on this. And I want to ask a favor. While we're putting this together, I would love it so much if you would give me your thoughts on what color I should paint the frame. I've left this area clear so that I can paint, because really you should paint your frame first, but I didn't know what color I was going to want to paint this until I got some decisions made on color for the glass. So I'm going to put my patterns in place here. And I just have to remember that I'm doing this and this, right? So let's just go ahead and start with this blue one. I put a white cloth under this, so hopefully you're going to be able to see really well. So I'm going to start with my center colors and work my way out from the center. So I've got my yellow. I'm going to just squeeze a tiny bit over here. And so I'm going to do this bit in yellow, and all I'm doing is using my needle nose bottle and putting this in place. So you know that diamond glaze dries like glass. And so that is, it's just going to be colored glass. So it gives us that effect. Because I shook my diamond glaze in this bottle, I am going to get a few bubbles, but I'm not going to worry about it because I think it's a stained glass, a faux stained glass piece. And I think it just adds a little character. So I'm not going to worry about it. So here I'm just filling in the color. I'm going to fill in all the places that are yellow first. Just like this. This is really easy because it doesn't take a lot of pressure to get this out of here. So I'm done with that yellow, except that I'm going to do, oh, I did the wrong one. Hold on one second. I need to just remove that and look at this one since that's what I'm working on. Okay. So now I'll have to do this one over here, but that's okay. So see why it's helpful to have like a little pattern or something in place. So can you see, is the light good enough? I've got the light here. It's a little dark because we're kind of cloudy, but I want to see if you can let me know if you're having a hard time. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Betty. Oh, thank you, Betty. I appreciate that. So now my next color is I'm going to use the orange is what I decided to do here. And so that's going to go on the outside of this. It's going to be very faint, right? I may have to shake it up a little bit. You're not supposed to shake it, but I'm going to shake it. Make sure that ink is in there. So it's going to be there. And so I've got it there. And then I'm outlining these petals with the orange as well. And I'm just moving in between my lead lines, right? I got a heavy lead line there. But when I was looking at stained glass pieces, I mean, there are some incredible artists out there. But the solder, you can tell like if something's manufactured because everything's too perfect. And so I thought I'm just going to embrace this. So I've got these. Hi, Amanda. How are you? And so I've got these. And so I'm looking at my pattern up here. And now we're going to do the outside. So I'm just getting out each color at a time like this. So this goes pretty quickly. I'm not having to put too much pressure on my squeeze bottle, so I'm grateful for that. It may save my hands today. And we're just coloring it in. So when this dries, it will be just this clear colored glass look. I'm going to see if I can. I'm really worried about the light. Let me know if you can see. Yes, I did. And Shannon, I thanked you in the beginning and thanked Mary for the suggestions. So I put a new tip on the lead line bottle, but it was still very difficult to get such a thick mixture. So I was saying that if you have arthritis or your hands easily fatigue with a lot of repetitive squeezing or anything like that, then this really isn't a great option for you for the leading. But I'm going to see, there has to be a solution out there. And so I'm going to see what I can find to come up with an alternative. And honestly, I really just should have done something like this thank you, Shannon. I should have done something, maybe we should have made a sun catcher instead of a 4-pane window. I don't know. But I got myself into this. I told my husband that I got myself into this and why did I do that? But I did. And I'm not unhappy that I did it. I was just like, whoa, squeezing all that stuff out was a lot. All right, let's go ahead and do the green now. You're going to see, I'm going to squeeze a little bit out here. This turned out to be a really pretty vibrant green. And yes, Betty, a magnet. I feel like one of those is in my future, like one of those overhead things that you can point down on your project and you can see it better. All right, so I'm filling in here. I have these little dots. These didn't turn out, but you're still going to see it. They're not as big as they are in our pattern for the stamp that we used. And so we're just going to fill in a little there. So let's get these filled in. And then I'm excited to see the blue. Okay, I'm going to do all of the color work first, and then we're going to do the glass bead gel. I think this is turning out really pretty. I'm excited about it. So, oh, good, Shannon. I'm so glad you're going to try it. All right, so let's use our blue. Whoops, I got a little on my leading, but I won't let that get to me. We're going to flood this with the blue. Just squeeze. Try to go in the outline here. We'll get this color on. My idea is just to give it, you know, some clearer areas, but still will distort it a little bit with the beads, with the glass bead gel. I think that'll just add some nice interest to it. Okay. And so for those of you that joined a little bit later, I just want to ask again, I would love it if you would all weigh in on what color you think I should paint the window frame. I guess I could leave it white, and maybe we'll decide that's the best option. But I was thinking it might be nice to paint it a fun color. All right, almost done. I think this turned out great. And I'm so glad I took the time to just color with some pencils and get a pattern, because it's really nice to be able to adjust to that. So the diamond glaze and the IOD ink ratio, I think I did like, I don't know, 8 drops. Some I did more. I played with it a little bit until it shook up to be a color. Some of them mixed a little lighter, some darker. So you just play with it. But I'd start with probably about 4 to 8 drops of your color, and then add more if you need to. So this part's done. And while I've got the blue out, let's go ahead and do the blue. So I'm going to start flooding these. So we're going to be working with some leading tape. I ordered some. So for our next window, we're going to try that technique. And I'm excited about that, because really that's not, you know, trying to squeeze the lead out of the tiny bottle. So we're just filling this in with the color. I'm trying careful not to flood it over my lead lines. Okay, and so every third one is going to be blue. So that was the other thing, is that I made my square, when I counted up my squares and I had 20, I thought, okay, well then I'll have 4 different colors. You know, I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't end up with 2 blues together or anything like that. So if I had an odd number, you know, maybe if I had 18, I would have chosen, you know, 3 colors, or oops, see, I was talking and doing this at the same time. So hold on. That's going to have glass bead gel in it. So I want to go to 3. 1, 2, 3. And so I'm going to come down here. I just find it easier to work with 1 color at a time. But obviously you don't have to do that. Yes, so I made a paper template, and I'm actually just going to email a PDF file as a reference. So if you're subscribed to me, you'll be getting that very soon, because I'm going to be doing like a little series and sharing the patterns. It might not be the size of your window frames, but it gives you an idea of how to do that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and so this one's going to be next. And you could print it, but I will be sharing I'll do a YouTube video of all of this and share how I made the entire pattern. I just shared kind of the gist and how I used the scoreboard when we were together yesterday. I think a pattern is just super helpful. Okay, so I just love how transparent it is. It's just really, really pretty. Yes, so if you go to vintagerevivaldesignco.com, Betty, there will be a pop-up that will invite you to join the email list, and that's where I will share that. So 1, 2, 3, and so we're going to go here, and then we should be done with the blue on this one. Don't you love how transparent this is? I love this. I'll also be sharing the PDF on YouTube as well. So that's a way to get it too. But I'd love to have you there. So okay, so our blue is done. Now we can choose any color we want. So let's just go ahead and get that yellow in. And this makes it a little bit easier because the yellow is always, now you have to be a little bit careful that you don't. I'm really glad that there is a frame to rest on because I could just see me putting my elbow right in all of this. Okay, so we're filling this in. I think this is turning out great. I almost did it again. So you kind of have to be awake and maybe not too much caffeine. So maybe don't drink too much coffee before you do this because you need somewhat of a steady hand or something to brace your arm on while you're doing this. I'm very, very excited to get these windows, to have ideas for the windows finally. They've just been, stored. And one of the things, though, was that we had a lady that used to be a vendor in the store, and her whole business was repurposed windows. And so it felt, I didn't want to do that. That was her whole business. But she's no longer at the store. So I feel like I can upcycle some of these. There is a dog here, y'all. Do you guys have pets? And he's a white dog. So I really have to. All right, so we're getting this. So anyway, now I feel like I can get these out and do a little something with them. All right, so this next one should be yellow here. We're almost done with this part. I just love this diamond glaze stuff, you guys. Shannon will tell you I use it like all the time. I use it for ornaments and craft projects and mixed media and all of that. I just love it, love it, love it. Okay. Am I going too slow? I'm just trying to pay attention. I like this. The turmeric didn't mix up quite as clear. Like you can see little pigment spots in some of this, but I love it. I love it, love it, love it. You have cat fur and everything. I know, I'm telling you. So I have not tried to peel this off, but this is, it's liquid leading, and it's by, the manufacturer is Plaid, Plaid. And so I have not tried to peel it off. I would imagine that you probably could. It would be really difficult to get this diamond glaze off, though. I'm not really sure how you could do that. I'm so glad, Amanda. Thank you. I love the blue too, Shannon. I thought that the Ocean's Deep was a better option than the China Blue that IOD has. So next we're going to do the orange. Let's do that. And then we'll do the green. So again, this is the time. Usually I don't like bubbles in my diamond glaze, and I would, work to pick them out. But here I really enjoy this because I feel like it's just, extra character. At least that's what we're going to call it. We're just going to say that it was meant to be. But because I had to shake them so hard, I wanted to make sure if I had done that right now, we would be dealing with more bubbles than really, it would no longer be character. So it would just be a mess. So I wanted to give it a little time to settle. But I hope how I shared to mix it up with your diamond glaze and use the steel balls will help you when you do this. I do think this would be a great sun catcher project, and less tedious on your, fatiguing on your hands. Okay, so we are going to have one more color, and then we're going to get to the glass bead gel. Has anybody come up with a color for the frame? Anything you're thinking? If you leave me hanging, I'm just going to have to come up with something. And I'm not sure what I'm going to come up with. I guess I could just freshen up the white, but okay, now let's see if I can. We've got this one, then we're going to do the green. Now you could use glass paint. I also, instead of IOD ink, you could use food coloring. You could also, instead of diamond glaze, try clear glue. I would get something that's relatively thin though, maybe like the school glue versus, I think the tacky glue is pretty thick. So I think that there are options. So, because food coloring usually comes, you've got your primary colors and you can match whatever you want. Oh, great. Okay. Thanks, Shannon. You want to see it? Bright sunshine yellow. Oh, so something more like this to really make it pop. That's a great idea too. So let's see. All right. We're going to do the green, and then we'll do our glass bead gel. Okay. So let's go in here. I played around with the order of these colors and did 2 different ones. And I thought I'm just going to go with that too, because I like the variation of that. Okay. I love how this is turning out. I love it when things work out the way you hope that they would, because not everything does, right? But we learn from that. And this is just fun. And the stamps just make it so easy to get, that little stamp in the center is from the Pennsylvania folk stamp. And it had quite a few elements that would look great, but I think you could use a lot of different things, right? Okay. We're flooding this. And so it isn't a thick coat, right? It is a, just up to the line. You just want to be careful not to overfill. And the nice thing is this last color is the easiest because it goes wherever there is no color already. So you don't have to refer to your pattern as much. Okay. And Dawn thought maybe a sage green would be pretty. I did think maybe like a dried thyme or something like that, or maybe that new, that really pretty green that Wise Owl came out with in the OHE. I don't know why I'm having a hard time thinking of the name of it now, but I thought that could be That can be pretty too. So now we've got our first pane in. Alcohol ink, I haven't tried the alcohol ink or the India ink in the diamond glaze. But that's a good idea too, because you can do a lot of great little art projects with the alcohol ink. And so I do think maybe it would be a little more opaque. So you do need to mix it with something. But I've also heard that you can mix acrylic paint with clear glue. So I don't know. I just think there are a lot of options. So, okay. So my first idea here is while this is drying, I'm going to have to be careful. But I saved the bead gel for after the color was on, because if I did the bead gel and got a little color in it, I would be sad. But if I get a little bead gel in the color, then that's not too bad. So I'm going to start by going every other one and see what I think. This is going to dry clear. I'm using a little palette knife. And this just has tiny, tiny little glass beads in it, but it will dry clear except for, I'm going to get a little brush. I'm just going to sacrifice a brush and get this moving. Okay. So it will dry clear except for you will just have glass beads in this. And so it's going to be white and cloudy, but you'll see all the little beads once this is dry. And where I don't have beads, I'm kind of mushing up my, just kind of patting this, because that should create a little bit of a distortion, but I'm not sure. And by that, I mean, kind of like a wave glass or bubble glass or something like that, where it's a little distorted. And so I just want to get this spread out to here. I could also just kind of swirl it and then go from there, and then we'll have little beads, but I don't know. So this is a little fussy, and I want to be careful not to go over if I go over my leading a little bit, it's not going to be a problem because it does dry clear. So it's just a little detailed, right? And so a lot of my beads are going to end up in the middle, and I really want to kind of push some out. So this is going to be textured when it dries, whereas this is going to be very smooth. And so I think it'll be a nice little contrast, but you will be able to feel the little glass beads. They won't cut you or anything, but you'll be able to feel them. Okay, so I should have a little distortion in there, which is what I want. There's another product I can use to make sure I have distortion. So we might do that on the opposite ones, but let me make sure that I'm getting all the way in here. You'll be able to see that your glass is really clear. So you can see that it's cloudy when you apply it. And then, like I said, it's going to dry clear. So now I want to do this one. I'm just going to go every other one. And even though it's a little slow going around these details, it's just easier to use a little brush. Okay. So we'll do that. I'm really excited to see this finished. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Shannon. I haven't used the glass bead. I think the last time I used glass bead gel was, a couple of like the Halloween time or the fall before this past. So last year's fall, I used them on some decoupaged pumpkins and loved that. And then I just thought, I wanted to give this, I wanted there to be some clear, I'm going to pick that up right there. I wanted there to be, not complete. I didn't want it to be completely filled with color. I wanted to give it a little bit of rest somewhere. So, all right, let's see if we can make this go a little faster. So I'm just going to kind of pounce this in. And then we'll just do the one other project or the one other product on this. So this is the area that I'm going to fill in after I get my frame painted. And I'll probably do a little more leading on that area, but I wanted to make sure that I had a clear spot. So if I had any paint to clean up, I could do that. Okay. So don't use a really good brush for this because you may or may not, depending on how long you're working with it, you may or may not be able to save it. So just a brush that you wouldn't mind having to throw out if you needed to. Ooh, that's going to be too much, I think. All right. All right, so we're just doing this. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to get through these windows. I'm on a mission. And so I think we'll at least be able to get some of the easier ones, like the decoupage ones. We might be able to get 2 or 3 out in a week, but I think I've got about, I don't know, 8 windows. I don't know that we'll do all 8 together. If it's a different technique, we'll do it together. If it's just a repeat of a technique that we've already done, I'll just share the finished pictures with you so that you can get some ideas. And please share your ideas on the windows. So, okay, I don't see any new questions, so I think I'm still good to go. All right. Are you guys falling asleep? This is, gosh. Oh, you guys. You were so funny. I got some comments about, oh, you're so patient. And I've got to tell you the truth, you guys. About 1.5 panes of letting into this, I don't think I was really patient. I was just committed to getting it done. So, but I was really happy when that last line of letting went on. Okay, this one's already starting to lose its, let's see if I can do this. Maybe a little bit bigger will help too. And I can just turn it. So I'm just pouncing, pressing it down, spreading it out to the lead line with the edge of the brush. I hope my head's not in the way this time. Okay. Clean that up. Okay. And I think it is going to distort it pretty nicely. So that'll make me happy. I can already see. Okay, I'm going to turn it this way and work on that. If you're watching on replay, you can always hit that little fast forward button through this. Just turn your brush every which way. And then I'll just use the tip of it. I think gallery glass has been around for like a really, really, really long time. But I think, Betty, was it you that asked if you could peel the sticker off? I do think I've seen people make window clings with it. So yeah, I would imagine that you could peel off the leading with it. So you would, to make a window cling, I guess you would have to do that, right? Oh, I'm so glad, Janet. Yes. So Betty, I think the leading can be peeled off. The diamond glaze, the colorant, no. You might be able to. I think you'd end up having to work so hard at it. You might as well just replace the glass. Okay. So just every other one. Let's see. And I think we will use that other, we're going to use another gallery glass product, and that's clear. I could just use clear glue, but I've got the gallery glass out here. All right, so I don't know why this one's a little trickier for me. Let me offload my brush too. All right, let's go. I'll get it as close as I can. And then we'll go, let me get that little brush again. Okay, so we'll do this. The gallery glass, the gallery glass is permanent, but, or no, I'm sorry. The gallery glass, the leading, you could remove it. But once you have added, even if you removed that, you would still have your diamond glaze in it. And it does feel like the leading feels a little rubbery, so that makes sense. But it also, even though this was black leading, outside of the light, in different light, it looked more gray or off black. But it looks really dark right now. So I think it also depends on the light that it's in. But if you didn't like your design before you added gallery glass or before you added diamond glaze, I'm getting my terms all mixed up, then you could remove it and start over if you wanted. Okay. All right. I think got a little bit more right here and a little bit more right there. Lots of little details in these grooves, right? But I think I've got it. Okay. So we've added our glass bead gel, right? So that is going to dry clear. And then we're going to use this other, let's just do it, I guess. Let's just do it. All right, so I'm going to pay no attention to the rest up at the top of this. So this is gallery glass, but this is window color, but this is clear. So this is crystal clear. It comes in a variety of colors. So they also, you could use their color tubes that they have instead of this. I just had diamond glaze and I had ink and I thought, okay, so for this piece, I'm putting some out in a plate and I'm going to take another brush that I don't mind losing. So let me get one that's kind of rough. I've got a few of those. All right, let me get this little guy. He's in pretty bad shape. All right, so this one I'm going to first paint on. So you can see this is smooth. It doesn't have any texture in it. I'm going to paint that on, but then I'm just going to do like little kind of stipple it on, and that'll create some texture. If I weren't working on such small areas where I had to be really so precise, I would probably even apply something like this with a seawool sponge because that would help you get some great texture with it. But we're just going to use this. So it's going to create a little see-through distortion as well, but be clear. So I'm stippling. So this is basically, it's also goes on white, but it's going to dry clear. And I just want to create some really good texture. I got out some of my shelf liner that you've seen me use to create backgrounds for artwork, but I wouldn't have been able to, I would have to cut out a whole bunch of shapes to do it. So I was like, nah, we're not doing that. But if you had like, I don't know, I've even got a little stencil brush over here. So maybe we'll just kind of pounce it into that when this is on. Let's see how that looks because I've got a little working time with this. This takes a few hours. So I've got a little stencil brush. Let's see if we kind of tapped this, if that would work so it's not quite the same texture as the bead gel. So yeah, so you can just pounce a little stencil brush and tap it. And that's going to give you a little interesting texture. So I think I like that. So it's a little more smooth. You'll be able to see the texture when I share it with you when it's all painted. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to paint this on. It'll go a lot more quickly too. Okay, so we'll paint that on. And I don't even have to go in the same direction. I just need to get it on there. I think if you were just trying it out, if you were just trying this and seeing if it's something that you wanted to do, I would probably go with the food color option if you don't have like inks already in your stash. All right, so let's just go ahead and stipple this then. Oops. I think I'm going to be okay with that because it dries clear. All right, so yeah, I do like the, okay, so I like the stencil brush and the little bit of texture that creates. Okay, so we've got 2 more panes. I'll be here if you want to be with me. And then I'll decide on a color and paint the frame, and then I'll show you the finished window, and then we'll go on to the next one. I would definitely do this again if I could find a better way to squeeze the leading. So I'm excited to work with the leading tape and see. I think the only thing is I think it's going to be flat and one-dimensional. And what I do like about this liquid leading is that you get the raised, you know, it looks a little more realistic because it's raised. All right. So we're just going to stipple, 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 pounce, 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 pounce. Okay, okay, I guess instead of being too worried about that, I could always go over that again. So we've got one more little panel to make. So this is going to be, it's going to be clear, but it's just going to be the slightest bit frosted. And I can add another coat if it's too clear for me. But I think we're going to be okay. Let's see how we do. All right, so let's get this on. Let's see if I can figure out a way to do this just a little faster. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's stipple. I'll raise it up one more time. And then pray for me that I remember the order that I wanted to put these in. So I think I'll do the next blue one, the next one like this first, so that I don't get confused. So I don't know about you, but once you kind of get in that like little zone where you're doing the things, then it can be a little tricky. Okay, so I'm just tapping, tapping, tapping. Okay, so this is already starting to dry over here, and this one's going to take a little bit more. So you can see that's pretty clear there. This is going to be clear. So we've got the clear and then the color here, but I don't know if you can see, I might add a little more. So I'll let you know if I end up adding a little bit more to this, but I do kind of want to get in there and let this dry and see what I think before I move on. Okay. So anyway, yeah, so there you go. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. And your input has been so helpful and so fun. I love that I can ask you, and you all are just so gracious and generous with your thoughts and opinions and help. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm really glad. So the next time you see it, it's going to be either the white's going to be refreshed or it'll be a different color, and all the panes will be done. And I'm hoping to get that done tomorrow. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again very soon. And if there's anything major that comes up, I'll pop on and share it with you. But otherwise, just look for the picture. And again, thank you so much. This will be a fun series to do with all of you. So wherever you are, I hope you're well. And I will see you soon. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.